Alright, so it's quarter 2, week 1, and today is Wednesday. So make sure you have all of that down. Number 1 says to write the fraction 39/9 as a repeating decimal. If you have 39/9, you take 39 divided by 9. 9 doesn't go into 3, but it goes into 39 how many times?
4.
And 4 times 9 is?
36.
And once I subtract, I have 3 left. Add a decimal, bring it up. Add the 0, bring it down. 9 goes into 37. 3 times, which is?
27.
So I have 3 left. Add another 0. 9 goes into 30.
3 times.
So when I write it as a repeating decimal, I'm going to write it as 4.3 with a line over the 3. Number 2, we had to solve the equation x over 2 minus 18 equals a negative 28. Thank you. So we can do it a couple of different ways. I'm going to leave in box this x over 2. I'm going to draw my line. So what am I going to move? 18. So I'm going to add 18 to both sides. So I'm left with x over 2 equals what? A positive and a negative, you subtract?
Negative 10.
Negative 10 because you keep the sign of the bigger number. If this is dividing by 2, we're going to do the opposite and multiply by 2. Multiply by 2, so x equals a negative 20. How many of you got that one right? Nice. You could have rewritten this as 1/2 x minus 18 equals a negative 28, and you're doing it the same way. I would add 18, so I'm left with 1/2 x equals a negative 10. And if I'm multiplying by a half, I divide by a half, and when you divide by the half, it's the reciprocal, right? So it'd just be 2 over 1. Either way is fine. Number 3 said to circle the greatest common factors. So I just look and see what they have in common. We have a 2, another 2, x, and 1y. So it would be 2 times 2 times x times y. I can say 2 times 2, which is what? Okay, so then I would say 4xy. Some of you might have wanted to put 2 squared times xy, but you really want to say what that 2 squared is.
It said that I didn't find out what the GCF was because it just said just circle.
Yeah, that's fine. Just
Okay.
just finish adding it so you know. 4, we just had to simplify. We have the quantity 13x plus 10y minus the quantity 6x minus 7y plus 5x. When I do these problems, I like to distribute this negative first. Do you guys understand that? So when you're subtracting, because you have a subtraction sign here. So I would just rewrite 13x plus 10y, then distribute the negative in front of the positive, so it would be a negative 6x. Then a negative times the negative would be a positive 7y plus 5x. Then I have my x's. I have a positive 13x, a negative 6x, and a positive 15x. 5x, thank you. I'm going to combine my two positives first. And 13 plus 5 is, so now I have 18x and a negative 6x. So what's 18 minus 6?
12.
So you have 12x. You guys understand how I got that?
Yes.
Okay? Then I have a positive 10y and a positive 7y. Well, they're both positive, so I just add, so 10 plus 7 is,
17.
and it's 17y. If you would have taken this quantity minus this quantity, to me, sometimes you forget about the negative. But I will show you that way so you know both. So I would just think 13x minus 6x. You guys see that? And that would be, what do we say? What would that be? 8x?
Yep.
And then I have 10y minus a negative 7y.
It should be 7. 7x.
Oh, thank you. So I have a 10y minus a negative 7y. This is where you have to make sure you do the keep, change. And then that would be a plus 17y. And then bring down my plus 5y. And then combine my x. Combine my 7x and my 5x to get the 12x plus 17y. Do you see where that, sometimes when you do it that way, you forget about the negative sign? And if I just distribute the negative and combine what I have alike, it's the same way. Either way you choose, it's fine. How many of you got number 4 correct? Okay, so a lot of you had to make corrections. How many of you like you're gonna have a choice, the first way or the second way. How many of you like the first way? How many of you like the second? Okay, do whichever one you want, okay? But that is what I always kind of found out a little bit easier for me. Number 5 is a negative 15 minus 2g plus 6g equals 1 plus 6g. Combine what draw my line. Combine what I have in common first on one side. So I have a negative 15. So if it's a negative 2 and a positive 6, that becomes a positive 4g equals 1 plus 6g. Now I have to decide, do I want my g on this side or on this side? And do I want it on the left or the right? It doesn't matter, tell me, what do you guys want to do?
Left.
Okay, so you guys want it on the left, so we're going to leave it on the left. So if I'm going to leave it on the left, I'm going to box it in, and I'm going to move that 15, plus 15, plus 15. So I have a 4g equals 16 plus 6g. Right? Now I'm going to move that g over here because you said you wanted it on the left. So I'm going to have a minus g, 6g minus 6g. So a negative 6 and a positive 4 makes a negative 2g equals 16. This is multiplication, so I want to divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, so g equals a negative 8. How many of you got that?
Whenever I did it, I moved the 6g that's on the right over first. That was like my first step, and then
That's fine.
canceled out the other 6g. So then I just had negative 15 minus 2g
Equals 1. Yeah, you can do it that way too. It doesn't matter which way you do it. To be honest, what I did, I moved my 4g over here to be on the right, because then it would just be a minus 4 and 6 minus 4. It makes no difference. There's a lot of kind of different steps. And also, sometimes I do 2 steps at once. I'll do the minus, or the plus 15, and the minus 6g at the same time, and just show that you canceled those out. But they would be on the same line. 6. A business has a 200-foot wall and places 6-foot letters on the center of an exterior wall to spell sale. If there is 1 foot between each letter, where do they start the letter S? This one took like a drawing. Hello? Okay, so if it was a 200-foot wall, so what I did is I had to sit and read it again. It has a 200-foot wall and places 6-foot letters on the center of an exterior wall. So my wall is 200 feet, okay? my sign says sale, right? And each letter is 1 foot, or 6 feet, excuse me. And there's 1 foot in between, right? So what I did, I took my 6 feet times my 4 letters, which is 24 feet. Then I figured out how many spaces I had. I had 1, 2, 3 spaces, so it'd be 3 times my 1 foot of space, which is 3 feet. Then I added those together and I got 27 feet. So 27 feet is going to cover my sign that says sale. Okay, are you guys with me? So then I take my 200-foot wall, subtract my 27 feet of lettering, and I get 173. Okay, but I want it centered. So now, how do I figure out what each side is? You divide it by 2. So I take 173 divided by 2. 2 doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 17. 8 times, 1 left, bring down the 3, it goes in there 6 times, 1 left, add a decimal, bring it up, add the 0, so it's 86.5 feet. So 86.5 feet would be on each side. Did any of you get that one correct? Nice. How many? When I first did it the first time, I had to read it like 3 times. Writing it out, drawing a picture helped me decide where to get going. 7. Z divided by 7 plus 19 is greater than or equal to 3.5. So when you have inequalities, you still draw the line. I'm going to box up this Z plus 7. So I'm going to subtract 19 from both sides. When I do that, make sure you're lining up your decimals, right? But one's a positive, one's a negative, so I'm really gonna come over here and do 19 minus 3.5 so I don't make a mistake. Because I have to add that 0, and I had to borrow. So that becomes 15.5. Do you guys understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And it's going to be a negative 15.5. So Z over 7 is greater than or equal to a negative 15.5. So if I'm dividing by 7, I'm going to multiply by 7 on both sides. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 3 makes 38. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 makes, count your decimals, that's 1. So I start on the right and come in 1. So Z is greater than or equal to 108.5. Oh, negative.
Yeah.
Don't forget to bring down your negative. And 8. This is where it gets just a little bit more difficult with the greater than and less than sign. But once you remember the rule, I think you'll be fine. Still draw a line, box up my X, so I need to subtract 6 from both sides. You're with me so far? Cancel each other out. I've got a negative 2x is greater than a negative 20. Divide by a negative 2. Divide by a negative 2. X, and I'm not going to give the answer yet, is a positive 10, right? Now, this is what's important. Because I either multiply or divide by a negative, I have to switch the way the sign goes. So I have to make that, instead of greater than, I need to make it less than. So that's the only change. Okay, so let's make a note on here, because you're going to have a problem like that again. And my note is going to say, when, and it's always at the end, when multiplying or dividing to find the inequality, and I'm doing this capital letters, switch the direction of the sign. So it's all the same as when you're doing it with an equal sign. You don't switch the sign when I'm dividing by positives, but only, I didn't write that here, did I? I said only if it is negative. And it's only if you're moving the negative one. It doesn't matter if there's a negative over here. So like in number 7, that was a, z divided by 7 is greater than or equal to a negative 15. I divided by a positive. It didn't matter that this was negative. It's what you divide it by or multiply it that's next to the letter. Go ahead and